Good afternoon, this is Hetek Word, and today's guest in our studios via Zoom link, Ambassador Maya Kadosh, the Ambassador of Israel. Welcome to our program. So, Madam Ambassador, we are talking on the fourth day of the Iran-Israeli war. My first question, is it correct to say that this is a war? Some say this is a preemptive war, others say this is a conflict. And why has it started now? I remember Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke about the Iranian problem more than 10 years ago at the UN. It was a famous speech with the illustration of a bomb. And then again, he spoke at the UN last September. Both of these speeches are available on our channel with Hungarian dubbing. So why now? What is happening, and why is happening it now?
So thank you, Peter. Rising the Lion operation, as we call it, is a limited time operation that has two clear objectives. One objective is to prevent Iran from achieving nuclear weapon. And you rightly said that we're already talking about it for the last 10 years. And Israel gave many tries to diplomatic solutions and tried everything it can to avoid reaching this situation that we see now. But unfortunately, the Iranian regime reached to a point that they were days or weeks from achieving nuclear weapons. And at that point, Israel, on the last possible minute, decided that it has to operate, and our cabinet saw no other choice but not allowing the Iranian regime, which is a very extreme regime, very dangerous regime, to achieve the most dangerous weapons exist. So one issue was the threat of the nuclear that became very permanent, and we saw that from the reports of the IAEA that Iran already reached to a level when they have 9 materials for 9 bombs, and they start operating together, something that they haven't done before. So this was a development of the last few weeks, and we had to operate against it. The other issue is the ballistic missiles program. And we see in the news coming from Israel, you see what happens to Israel on a daily basis now, and how many casualties we have from these ballistic missiles that also have a range to reach all of Europe. They cover all of Europe. And the Iranian regime put it himself as a goal to have over 10,000 missiles, which is about 7 or 8 times from what they have now. And we couldn't have this regime that calls for our elimination and operates to our elimination to keep with its process and goals without stopping it. So we waited until the last possible minute, and when that didn't work, we had to operate.
Wasn't it a little bit dangerous to wait until the last possible minute? Was it Israel's decision to do it now, or Israel wanted to do it maybe earlier, but waited for the right political, diplomatic, military situation?
So I think you absolutely understand that taking a decision to go to this kind of operation is something that you don't do easily. There were a few obstacles on the way. First was the proxies on our borders. So Iran had the power in the beginning, before October 7th, they had the power to operate Hamas and Hezbollah against Israel as the first responses. And we had to eliminate this process first. So after we fought both Hezbollah and Hamas very successfully, when it comes to threatening our civilians, only then we can operate against Iran. And also, when Iran attacked Israel last year, it also gave us an opportunity to destroy a lot of their protection systems and defense systems, which opened the sky for us to get to Tehran, to reach the result we saw this week. So issuing this operation before we could achieve the goals wasn't possible. Also, we had to calculate the price and the casualties on the Israeli side, and we see it nightly now, the heavy price that Israel pays, but we had to fight for our existence.
Obviously, you have very well prepared plans and scenarios. And as I mentioned, we are talking on the fourth day of this operation. On the first day, it seemed that Israel was very, very successful to achieve maybe even more than it planned for. How do you see, how long could it last? When will be able Israel say that it has achieved its goals? Or when could there be a too heavy price, maybe because of the Iranian retaliation that we can see that dozens of Israeli casualties happened, unfortunately?
We have plans that are in place for a few years, and we are operating in a very coordinated way. We know what we have to achieve on a daily basis. We are achieving our goals on a daily basis. We already managed to destroy all of the defense of the Iranian army. We can operate freely now in Iran, and this allows us to achieve our goals of hurting the nuclear program via military precise strikes. So we see that we operated against some of the military bases. We operated against people that were involved in the nuclear program, and we are operating against the missiles program. And I think we are working according to the plan, and we will keep doing it until we achieve our goals.
How much does the plans are affected by the fact that Iran is targeting civilian areas in Israel? Defense Minister Israel Katz told that the residents of Tehran should pay for these brutal attacks that we could see on the residential areas. How does it change maybe the plans?
So I think he clarified that he means that Israel is not going after the Iranian people. The Iranian people and the Israeli people has a long standing relation, historical relations. Iran used to be one of Israel's closest allies in terms of people to people. We see until now we have a lot of there's a lot of Iranian Jewish community in Israel, and a lot of them receiving messages from friends and that were left in Iran. And we know that the Iranian people support Israel. And I think what Minister Katz said, and that's what we are doing, is that not like the Iranians, we are warning the Iranian people before we attack. We ask them to leave their houses so they won't be hurt. We don't want to see any civilians casualties on the Iranian side. And if you can compare that to what the terror state is doing and what Iran is doing against Israel, so you see the difference between a democratic country that's working to protect itself and between a terror state that aiming directly into citizen population that has no bases near them and without any reason hurting children and babies and schools.
You mentioned the proxies of Iran, this terror network in the region. Is it a surprise that, largely saying, none of these proxies have so far been involved in this conflict?
I think they paid the heavy price for being involved with Iran. We saw the price Hamas leadership paid. We saw the price Hezbollah leadership paid. I don't think they have the ability or the will to pay the price again. They declared openly that they are not going to interfere. And this is one of the achievements that the government had in this war. And I don't think we're going to see much of their involvement in the future.
We are covering the events on our YouTube channel and on our online platform, and we receive lots of feedback from viewers. Let me just ask and quote some of these for you to answer, because it would help to clarify the situation. One of the arguments we frequently meet that why is Israel thinking that Iran would carry out its plans against Israel. They say that Iran has never been an aggressor, never attacked any countries in the region. Is that so?
So I think that's not true, of course. First of all, if you look at what the Iranian leadership says, they are very clear about their intention not to hurt Israel, but to eliminate Israel. And they use this word again and again. And you know that we are the Jewish people, we've been through the Holocaust and we've been through October 7. And we know that when people say they want to eliminate, done in terms of building the proxies against Israel that attacked Israel once and again. The amount of weapons they smuggle into the Palestinian authorities trying to open a new front with Israel. The terror attacks against Israeli targets and diplomats during the last 30 years at least. You will see that saying that Iranians are looking for peace or peace-seeking country, that's just not the case at all.
Another argument that we read frequently that Iran has a nuclear program, but that's only for peaceful purposes for the energy supply. How is that?
So again, if we look at the facts on the ground, and the facts as it came from the international community, as it came from the Atomic Agency, is that Iran accumulated enough uranium to enrich for 9 nuclear bombs, that their intentions are to develop weapons, and that was said not by Israel, but the international community. We see also the missile program that is aimed not only to attack Israel, but also to attack Europe. So again, Iran is a very dangerous country, the most dangerous one to the world peace now. And I know that many here in Europe and many here in Hungary worried about another war and about the energy prices and about, your daily life. But you have to understand that pushing the threat forward to the next generation won't help. We have to face the threat, we have to work to eliminate the threat, and then peace can be achieved. Israel, in the end of the day, doesn't want to have a war forever. We want to see elimination of Iran as a player in the regional area and in the world politics. And then from there, I hope that we will see a better future for our children, for your children, for the citizen here in Europe and in Israel as well.
Do you think that Israel can achieve a trustful, lengthy peace with the current Iranian regime?
The current regime is definitely not a partner for peace. As I said, this is a very extreme Islamist regime that wants to eliminate Israel. I don't see how Israel can achieve peace with this current regime.
Does it mean that Israel can also calculate with a regime change in Tehran? Is there any mean that it can help to happen?
Changing the regime in Iran wasn't one of the goals of this operation. The two goals, as I said, was the targeting the nuclear program and the ballistic missile program. The regime change in Iran is only up to the Iranian people. We saw once and again that the Iranian people object their government, but it's up to them to decide, up to them to act if they want a regime change in Iran.
I mean that we could hear Prime Minister Netanyahu's message to the Persian people, and his message was that the time is now and the time is near to achieve freedom. Do you see any positive signs that would make it possible?
It's up to the Iranian people to decide. I'm as a woman, I see a lot of these videos coming out from Iran of freedom, women, and I pray for the Iranian people that they will manage to escape this brutal, awful regime, but I can't decide for them.
How do you see the role of President Trump in this current situation? Some say that he was trying to keep Israel back from attacking Iran. Others say that there was a smart cooperation with Prime Minister Netanyahu into fooling Iran into a false security. What is the more realistic explanation?
So I can only quote President Trump himself that said that they were fully involved in the operation, especially in protecting Israel. We are very thankful for the American government for allowing our citizens, I think, to sleep a little bit better at night when we have the protection system of the Americans and we have the backing of the Americans, and they've been aware all the time of the plans. And that's what they're saying.
President Trump told that he was speaking on the phone with President Putin, and Putin, or maybe he asked the Russian president to somehow help to communicate between Israel and Iran. Do you think that's a realistic scenario? Would you accept the intermediary position of the Russian president?
I think at this point, Israel is focusing on achieving the goal of the operation. I don't now, I'm not able to comment on the future and who will be a possible moderator. I suggest that we will leave that for the future.
How do you see the European reactions? It was President Macron who just some days before the Operation Rising Lion planned a conference for acknowledging the Palestinian state. Now it is off the table for now, but it was today's news that Israel was banned from the Paris Weapons Expo or Navy Expo. So it seems that Europe is not fully supporting Israel in this situation. How is that? How do you see that?
So first of all, I think the good news is that both France and Germany and other places in Europe and the European Union all recognize that Iran can't have nuclear weapon. And that was stated once and again by all major players. And that means that I think also the Europeans understand the risk of the Iranian regime and the risk to their security here in Europe. We also saw that they are all commenting on Israel's right to self-defense, which is also encouraging because this is clearly an operation that was put to the last minute, and Israel is working to protect itself and defend its citizens. And I think the Europeans understand that. Also, the fact that France postponed now the conference on the Palestinian issue show that there's understanding that if the Iranian will be out of the picture in the region, we will see a different Middle East. And we will have to wait and see what this Middle East will look like. And I think we are all very hopeful that without Iran, without the extreme players, we can build a new Middle East that will consist only of moderate players, that will be able to build a better future for everyone in the Middle East, for our children, for the Palestinian children. And I think if we will wait and see what is going to happen with the Iranian, we will achieve this goal. The last I saw about the air exhibition is that they're trying to find a solution, and I'm hopeful that the solution will be found.
It was just about 2 months ago that Prime Minister Netanyahu visited Budapest, and it was a historic meeting, and both Prime Minister Orban and Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke about the strong relation between the two countries. How do you see the relations in these difficult days? For example, I mean, there are Hungarian citizens who are not able to leave Israel, leave the region. What is the type of the atmosphere of the communication between the two countries in these days?
So there's still open line, very good communication. I'm in touch with all my counterparts here in the government, and I get a lot of support I think there is a good understanding between the governments. The foreign minister spoke on the phone, got briefed, and we are trying to help, of course, the Hungarian citizens that are in Israel. Hopefully, in a few days, we will see the flights back. We will just announce the operation to start. The operation of the airport will start in 72 hours, and I hope that also the Hungarian citizens that are stuck now in Israel will be able to come back to Budapest. And the same for the Israeli. I can tell you that in the meantime, we have thousands of Israelis stuck here in Budapest because this is the most popular tourist destination for Israelis. And I'm glad to say that the community here, the Jewish and the non-Jewish community, came up with a lot of initiative to help people with lodging and medication and food and support. And that showed the people-to-people real relation that is sometimes not shown in the news, but is highly, highly appreciated.
Yes, we have a Hungarian saying, which could be translated that the true value of friendship could be seen in difficult times. I don't know if there is a similar in Hebrew, but these are really the times to prove that. Ambassador Kadosh, thank you very much for the interview, and we will continue covering the news with your help and with other colleagues. We have just received reports from Hungarians, Israeli Hungarians who need to cope with this difficult situation. We will carry their voice as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.